공지에 올린 대로 이번 주가 되겠네요. 예. 어쨌든 어린이날 휴일 때문에 밀렸던 수업을 보강을 하도록 하겠습니다. 그래서 이 시간에는 어쨌든 우리가 지금까지 열심히 Out of Order Processor의 구조에 대해서 열심히 이제 배웠는데요. 어쨌든 이제 Out of Order Processor를 여러분들이 이제 좀 잘 이해를 하는데 도움을 주기 위해서 우선은 이제 시뮬레이터에 대해서 이제 소개를 했고요. 그 다음에 이제 두 번째 토픽으로 Out of Order Processor의 이제 Speculative Execution으로 인해서 발생하는 아주 지금은 유명해진 Security Attack, Spectre에 대해서 좀 얘기를 해보도록 하겠습니다. 사실 뭐 역사적으로 본다고 하면 사실은 컴퓨터 보안 이슈는 뭐 지금까지 계속해서 이런 시큐리티 이슈는 계속해서 많은 연구를 해왔고, 진짜 뚫으려는 해커들과 그 다음에 막으려는 리서처들의 그런 뭐 연구를 하는 그런 플레이그라운드라고 볼 수 있겠죠. 근데 사실 이제 스펙터랑 이제 멜트다운은 이게 처음 이제 밝혀졌다고 해야 되나요? 뭐 세상에 이제 어나운스, 퍼블리시가 이제 된 다음에 사실은 사람들이 많이 언급을 하고 또 많이 이야기를 하는 그런 주제가 되어 왔습니다. 물론 이제 머신러닝이나 뭐 인공지능처럼 이렇게 많은 사람들의 관심을 받지는 못했겠지만, 뭐 그럼에도 불구하고 이런 스펙터나 이제 멜트다운 같은 시큐리티 어택, 특히나 이것이 하드웨어의 아키텍처로 인해서 벌어진 그런 요인된 그런 시큐리티 어택이라는 것이 밝혀지면서 뭐 많은 그런 사람들이 또 언급을 하고, 도대체 이게 왜 발생을 했고 또 어떻게 막아야 되느냐, 패치는 없느냐, 뭐 이렇게 많이 이야기를 했던 것으로 기억이 납니다. 네. 어쨌든 뭐 지금이 2020년이니까는 약 2년 전에 이제 발표가 됐고, 그 뒤로 이제 많은 사람들이 연구를 하고, 그래서 이제 시큐리티를 고려한 아키텍처, 컴퓨터 프로세서에 대한 관심도 이제 많이 사람들이 이제 가지게 되었습니다. 그래서 이제 여러분들이 이제 힘들게 Speculative Execution 그리고 Out of Order Processor에 대해서 이제 배운 만큼, 그것으로 인해서 이제 발생한 그런 여러 가지 이슈에 대해서 좀 이제 나눠보려고 하는데, Security 이슈 우선은 요새 이제 많이 관심을 받고 있는 그런 Security 이슈에 대해서 이제 이야기를 하도록 하겠습니다. 그래서 사실 요 발표는 이제 스펙터는 여러 사람들이 혹은 여러 기관이 동시다발적으로 발견을 해서 리포트를 한 그런 이슈입니다. 그 중에 한 사람이 이제 폴 코쇼가 있는데요. 폴 코쇼의 이제 슬라이드를 이제 바탕으로 제가 다시 만드는 그런 슬라이드가 되겠습니다. So this time, I will talk about the security issue of speculative execution in the out of order processor. So I believe you are very familiar with some security attacks known as the Spectre and Meltdown. So it is because this security attack is caused by the security attack can be applied for the most of the processor, especially if the processor includes the out of order processing and speculative execution. Then these security attacks can be applied. And then, so what is the security attack? So with this security attack, the secret data of the anonymous user can be revealed to the some other hackers or some bad guys, 범죄자들한테 이제 뭐. So, and then so actually the very private data can be stored in the computer machine, such as the password or some your national ID. Then some private key can be stored in the computer system. Also, so this data can exist on the memory hierarchy of the computer system. So this data, this private data is very important, because if this private data is revealed to the hackers or some other agency, and then some other private people, then they can use your password and then your national ID to access some bank account and then some other data, your own private data. So this is a very critical issue. So in the computer system, this private data should be protected. So computer processor manufacturers such as Intel or ARM also provide the specialized secure execution called SGX or trust zone, but some secure attacks can exploit the its own hardware architecture. It's not a bug. Hardware architecture of the computer processor to steal some secret data from the other program. So actually the Spectre and Meltdown was very popular, because this security attack can be applied for most of the x86 processor, also even the ARM processor. Actually for the Spectre, Meltdown is applied for the Intel processor only, but the Spectre can be applied for any types of out of the processor, including the Intel, AMD, or ARM processors. Also, this Spectre can be replaced with some RISC-V processor, so new processors, and then some other some architecture simulators such as the Gen 5. So this is because this Spectre exploit the speculative execution, and then this speculative execution is essential for improving the performance of a computer processor. So, and then this is the essential techniques to improve the performance of the computer processor. But and then it is not a bug. It's not a bug. It's some intended architecture, but security attacks can exploit this architecture. So let's talk about so I will leave you some our previous topics, and then I believe you already know about this topic, but I will leave this topic. So the first topic is how to boost computer performance. So how can we improve the performance of the computer processor? So, and then in the previous decade, the performance of the computer processor relies on the advanced of VLSI technology, like a CMOS technology. So, for example, if we shrink the channel length of the CMOS transistor, then speed of the CMOS transistor will be increased. So we can change the value of the CMOS transistor, like change from 0 to 1 or 1 to 0 very more quickly if the channel length of the CMOS transistor is reduced. So recently the TSMC can apply the 7 nanometer technology. So that means that the channel length of the CMOS transistor is 7 nanometer. So it's below 10 nanometer. It's very, very short. So with the effort of this CMOS the effort of advancing of the advanced CMOS technology, then we can make a more advanced computer processor or some other SoC chip. So if we can shrink the CMOS channel length, then we can increase the system clock rate, system clock frequency of the computer processor. But as you know, this clock frequency of the computer processor is saturated. So the most of the modern processor has the around the 3 gigahertz clock frequency, and then this clock frequency is saturated 10 years ago, maybe. And then how about the memory speed? So we can increase the clock frequency of the main memory, DDR or DDR memory, or some it's a DRAM. But the improving the memory speed does not improve the performance of the computer system, not very much. Also, it is not easy. It is not easy to increase the clock frequency of DDR memory. Also, the important metric for the some main memory is bandwidth, not latency. So the problem is that the advancement of this various technologies, the CMOS scaling is so it is expected that the CMOS scaling will end within 10 years, maybe, I don't know. We cannot expect the end of the CMOS scaling, but so it's very hard to shrink the length of the CMOS channel and more. So also we can increase the performance of the computer processor with the advanced in computer architecture. So if we apply if we can apply more advanced architecture on the computer processor, then we can increase the performance of the processor. So the advanced of computer processor relies on the various technology and then effort on research on computer architecture field. So it's very important. So these are the some representative technology for improving the performance of a computer processor. But the first, memory hierarchy. So we can include the fast and small local cache memories inside of the processor. So with the help of memory hierarchy, we can use the data very quickly, but we can this memory hierarchy make a computer processor expect that the data can be accessed very quickly, but this data can be stored in the very large space of the memory. So it's just it's a technique. So, and then this memory hierarchy exploit the data locality. So it's a very important topic. So also out of the processing. So with the Thomas law algorithm, we can break some wall of data hazard, not true data hazard, but we can break some wall of limitation of the architectural registers. And then also, even though the one instruction is blocked by some long execution latency, but the following instructions can be executed with the out of order processing. And then speculative execution. So it's a very revolutionary technology. So this speculative execution, the instructions can be executed beyond the barrier of branch instruction. So this speculative execution can be implemented with the branch predict buffer, branch target buffer, and reorder buffer. So it's very important. and then thread level parallelism. So now now the computers can run multiple threads, and then also some what's it, the processors such as the GPUs can run the 100 to 1000 of concurrent thread. So this thread, with this thread level parallelism, the computer processor can run multiple thread concurrently. So the thread is some separated process. So it's a very similar to some separate code. So with the many core architecture and then SIMT architecture, which is applied for GPU, then we can implement the thread level parallelism. So these are some techniques to improve the performance of computer processor, and then with the help of this advanced computer architecture, then we can improve the performance very effectively. And then some shock from the security world, some Meltdown and Spectre, and then I captured this from the meltdownattack.com. So, and then many people were shocked by the announce of Meltdown and Spectre, because this Meltdown and Spectre is exploit some modern architectural techniques, but this architectural technique is not a bug, but the important data such as some password or some private key or private secret data can be revealed by this architectural technique, which is applied for some computer processor in order to improve the performance of a computer processor. So Meltdown and Spectre is the vulnerabilities in modern computers. Is a modern computer processor, not some old computer processors such as some pipeline architecture, static pipeline architecture. So, but modern computers relies on the out-of-order processing and the speculative execution for their some high-performance computing. So this vulnerability is found in the modern computer processors, and then we can with this vulnerability, the attackers can capture the private password or sensitive data. So this is the modern processor. And then this is some brief explanation of the Meltdown and Spectre. So it's the hardware vulnerability. So it's described as the hardware vulnerability. But so this hardware vulnerability is well known in the real world, actually, before Meltdown and Spectre. So we can use some famous hardware vulnerability is the side channel attack, and then a covert channel attack. So actually we can estimate some content of the data with this by analyzing some covert, by analyzing the covert channel. But why the Meltdown and Spectre is very famous? Because this is the vulnerability in processor architecture, so actually the side channel attack is very popular in the computer hardware, so we can use this side channel attack to estimate some content of the program data. But this is the real some side channel attack, so just the side channel attack. So we may analyze some power consumption or analyze some magnetic field while the program runs, but this is some architectural issue. So the Spectre and Meltdown is so popular. So also you can find the brief description of the Meltdown and Spectre, and then And then particularly the meltdown is observed in the Intel processor families, and then Spectre is found observed in the actually various kinds of processors such as AMD, Intel, and then even ARM. It is because Spectre exploit the speculative execution. So it's a Spectre. So you may think that this Spectre is the Spectre comes from the speculative execution. So actually so it is known that the meltdown has the patch, some software patch for this meltdown, but it is very difficult to block this Spectre attack. So in the web page, in the meltdown attack web page, you can find that Spectre is harder to exploit than meltdown. So it's a good thing, but it is also harder to mitigate. So here. So, and then also it is the website explained that some Spectre variant can be blocked by some software patch through this software patch, but some the baseline, so the Spectre exploit some speculative execution, it is not easy to block the all kinds of Spectre. So let's see. So here, and then this is I will leave the speculative execution we learned in this class. So this is the structure of the order processor, and then Thomas-Law algorithm, and then speculative execution. So for this speculative execution, the new hardware structure is included in the out-of-order processor. So reorder buffer, and then branch predict buffer, branch target buffer, and register alias table. And then the representative feature of speculative execution is that this processor separates the completion of the execution and commit of execution. So that means that the instruction can be completed out of order. Completed. What's this? Yeah. Completed out of order, and then that means that the result from this complete instruction is speculative. So that means that it's not a final result. And then this speculative values or speculative result is stored in the reorder buffer. Also, yeah, so we learned about the register renaming and then speculative scheduling. So this speculative result can be stored in the physical register, but so in this case, so I only mentioned the speculative Thomas-Law. So speculative result is stored in the reorder buffer. So and then this result is now updated in the architectural register, right? And so when this result is updated, when the instructions are committed at the top of the reorder buffer, right? So you need to remember. So this is very important topic. So and then the data is committed in order. Okay. So this is the representative feature of the speculative Thomas-Law, and then some speculative execution, and then Thomas-Law algorithm. So, and then what's the problem? So commit commit of the instruction is the write register data and then write memory. So actually the commit means the update status of computer system. So and then updating the status of a computer system means writing registers or writing data in the memory, writing data in the register file and then writing data in the memory. So we only consider write of data in the memory hierarchy for committing some instructions. How about the read? How about reading data from the memory? We don't need to consider this data reading from the memory hierarchy. That's true. You just read data, and then if the reading was incorrect, then we just cancel this data, and that's fine. So let's see some speculative execution example. So actually in this clock cycle table, then we assume that this branch instruction is predicted and branch instruction prediction was correct. So the prediction was correct. So as the branch instruction is corrected and then it is predicted as the not taken because it is the example of iterative loop. So branch instruction can be issued at clock cycle 14, but the following instruction, the out of the branch instruction, actually this is the taken branch, so it's inside of the iterative loop, but the following instruction, load instructions, can be issued at clock cycle 11 and then 12. So load instruction is issued. So when the load instruction is issued, then this load instruction will access cache memory. So actually in this example we assume that the data is found in the local cache, the level of cache. So data is hid in the cache. But if the data is missed, then the data is fetched from the low level cache, or level 2 and then level 3, or if the data is not found in the last level cache, then data is fetched from the main memory, DRAM. So the load instruction is issued and executed, and cache is accessed even before this branch instruction. So the computer processor does not know the result of this branch instruction, but the following load instruction is executed, and then if the data is not found in the cache, the data is fetched from the lower level cache, level 2 cache or level 3 cache. And then the data is allocated in the local cache if the data is fetched from the lower level cache. And then that's no harm. It just read the data from the other memory, the other memory hierarchy. And then that's it. So even though this branch instruction is incorrectly predicted, then this load instruction and then the following other instruction is rolled back, is cancelled, but this data, the fetched data, remains in the local cache. It is because the data is already fetched and then this data exists in the local cache. And then if some old data, before fetching this new data, old data may exist in the cache memory. But when this data is fetched from the lower level cache, this old data was already evicted from the local cache. So it's no harm, but the old data is just evicted, and then this data is speculatively fetched in the local cache, but it's no harm. It's because it's just read, not write. So the local cache just read the data from the lower level cache, and then that's it. Even though this load instruction is rolled back, it's cancelled, we don't need to cancel fetching by this load instruction, right? Because it's a load. And then actually the cache memory is the temporary memory, not main memory. So, so we don't need to consider about some fetching data in the local cache, right? So even though this branch is mispredicted, load instruction and then add instruction is cancelled, but data fetched by this load instruction remains in local cache. But there is no harm with this action operation. Also, there is no harm in the performance of the computer system. Actually, this speculative execution is applied in order to improve the performance of a computer system. So it's good for the performance of the computer system, and then no harm. It's not harmful. So it's a good thing. Though there is no side effect here. So actually the people think that there is no side effect in the speculative execution. But security issue was found, so people were shocked. So that's some security issue. So security issue arised by the Spectre and Meltdown issues. Okay, so I will explain why does this speculative execution has the security issue with the example. Actually, when the Spectre was announced in the announced and published, then the POC, proof of concept, was also announced. It's provided with a paper. Okay, so this is some example of the victim function of the Spectre paper. Appears on the appearing on the Spectre paper. So this is example victim function. So as you can see, this victim function compares this variable x with the array 1 size, and then with this x, the value x, the array 1 is accessed by this x and indexed by the x, and then the array 1 data indexed by x is also used as the index of the array 2 index. So actually this form is frequently used in the normal program, and then also this if statement is used frequently actually for safety, right? So we can just check the size of the x with the size of the array 1 size, because x is used as the index of the array 1. So if the x is out of bound of the array 1, then that is an error. So this is the very so actually the practical coding technique maybe before accessing the array 1. So we can check the size of the x with the array 1 size. So but it's the victim function of the Spectre. Okay, what's the problem? So in the Spectre attack, this variable x is manipulated by the attacker. So that means that the attacker changed the value of the x to steal some secret data from the computer memory. And then for the Spectre attack, the array 1 size, this variable is evicted from the cache. So what's the problem? So if this array 1 size variable is evicted from the cache, that means that this variable is not found in the local cache. It's not in local cache. Okay. So in order to compare the value of x and the array 1 size, then the computer processor needs the data in x and array 1 size. But if array 1 size data is not found in the local cache, this data should be fetched from the main memory or lower level cache. But that means that fetching this array 1 size data will take many cycles because the data is not found in the local cache. So if the data is found on the main memory, then it will take hundreds of cycles, right? But this instruction y equal array 2 blah 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 can be executed speculatively. Why? This is the conditional, actually the if statement can be implemented with the conditional branch. So if the condition is met, then the following instruction can be executed. But we know that in the speculative execution, the result of the branch is predicted, and then if based on this predicted behavior, the instructions can be executed. So problem is that if it's not a problem, it's a normal operation. So if the branch is this branch instruction, it's predicted as taken or some true, then this instruction can be executed, and there is no harm. If the prediction was wrong, then we can, and computer processor can roll back this speculative execution. There's no harm. Actually, no harm here. But with this speculative execution, then discrete data can be revealed. So why? So in this example, let us assume that there are 3 different arrays, and then it's a secret array. This secret array has the secret data, secret private data. So let us assume that secret array contains the secret data. And then array 1, this array 1, this is the array 1. This array 1 is exploited to fetch secret data by the Spectre. How? And then array 2. Also, actually the array 2 used some indirect access for the array data, and then but this array 2 is exploited for cache side channel attack. So some covert channel. So the cache side channel attack exploit the timing difference with the hit or miss. So this array 2 is exploited for cache side channel attack. So there are 3 different arrays in this example. So let's see how this Spectre steals some private data or secret data from the computer memory. So this is the some very some simple memory hierarchy. It's a local cache, and then last level cache or memory. So, and then it's a very simple, actually basic knowledge on the computer architecture. So this is the load instruction, and then if this load instruction requires data from the array 2, and then with this displacement with the index n. So if this requested data is found in the local cache, then the computer processor can fetch data quickly. So that means that this the execution time for this load instruction will be very short. So execution time is short. But if the data is found in the last level cache or even in the main memory or DRAM memory, then it will take hundreds of cycles to fetch the requested data. So the load instruction is executed in the computer processor, but firstly the local cache is tested and checked, and if data is not found, then data is requested from the last level cache or main memory. But the depth of the distance until this local cache, last level cache or local memory is very long. Also, the memory speed is very slow. So latency, the fetching latency is very long. So so we can classify the some execution time of this load instruction. Like for the two different cases, is a cache hit or cache miss. Then execution time will be short and it will be very long. This is the basic of computer architecture, basic of memory hierarchy. And then let's see this as an example. So let us assume that array 1 size is not in the local cache. So that means the array 1 size is in the last level cache or memory. Also, the array 2 data exists in the main memory. So this is the okay. So this is the for the branch instruction. This branch instruction need to compare the values in variable x and the array 1 size. But as you can see, this array 1 size data located in main memory or last level cache. So it will take a long time to fetch array 1 size data. But the computer processor does not wait until the data is fetched from the last level cache. Why? Because the computer processor has the branch predictor, and then if the branch predictor is trained as true, the trend is a branch predictor can be trained with the x here, trend. So if the branch for result for this branch is the result for this branch was true continuously in the previous, then the branch predictor can predict the result of this future behavior is also true. So it is predicted, can be predicted as the true. So even though the computer processor does not know the value of this array 1 size, but the result is predicted as true. So that means this following instruction is speculatively executed, right? The branch is predicted as taken, then and then in the previous slide I assumed that the x can be manipulated by the attacker. So attacker can change, that means that attacker can change the values in the variable x. So attacker can train the branch predictor as the true. So that means that this value x is smaller than the array 1 size, right? And then evict this array 1 size data from the cache. So we can use the C+ instruction with the, and then if the shift flush instruction is executed, then the data is evicted from the cache, right? So shift flush. Then this array1 data is evicted from the cache. And then the attacker can change the value of x as the very large value. So this large value can be bigger than the array1, should be array1 size, but this array1 size is not reserved in the computer processor because array1 size is in the main memory. So computer processor does not know about this value. Also, x value has the very large value, but as the computer processor does not know the array1 size value, the computer processor just predict the branch as taken. So if branch is predicted as taken or true, then this instruction will be executed. And then, so x has the large value, so x has the value larger than this array1 size. So actually this x will be out of bound of this array1 array. So but with this, as you can, so even though x has the very large value, so large, then computer processor can calculate the address for this equation, this instruction as the base address of the array1 plus x. So this will access the other data, not array1 data. And then if that means that this load instruction can access some secret data. Yeah, so x has the very large value. So and then this is some structure of the data, the array1 array, and then secret data is here. So if the x is within the range of this array1, then with this equation, this instruction will access the array1 data only. But x has the very large value, then x with this address, then this load instruction can access the other data, some secret data. So if the x has some very so if the secret data is located in the base address of the array1 and then some displacement of x, very large value, then with this instruction, this secret data can be accessed. So and then it's okay because it's the speculative execution. So actually in this program, so if this is the false, if this is false, this instruction will not be executed. And then this is some safe habit. It's actually good for it's good for programming. Just we can compare the x with the array1 size, and then this will be only executed if the x is less than the array1 size. But problem is that the branch is predicted as true, so some following instructions will be executed. But there is no problem because this instruction will be cancelled and then rolled back by this speculative execution, right? So it will be cancelled. So there is no problem. There is no bug here. There is no problem here. So with the index of x, then secret data can be accessed. So let us assume that the secret value is 3. Then 3 will be fetched from the this local cache. So this value will have the actually this array 1x has the value 3, and then is multiplied by 512. So this array index for array 2 will have the 3 multiplied by 512. And then the y for the variable y, this array 2 is requested. There's no problem because it's speculative execution. So by this execution, this instruction, this what data? This data is requested by the array 2, 3 multiplied by 512. This is requested. So this data is fetched to read from the main memory and then fetched to the local cache. This because this computer has the memory hierarchy, and then if the data is requested, the data is stored in the local cache, fetched from the local cache. And then it is revealed that the speculation was false because x has the very large value. So the computer processor need to roll back incorrectly executed instruction. No problem. So incorrectly executed instruction should be rolled back. So what's the matter? Oh, interesting. So incorrectly executed instructions will be rolled back. But data, this data is already fetched to the local cache. But this action is not cancelled because it's just a read operation, because it is no harm for the result of the execution. There's no harm. It's a no harm. So this data is fetched to the local cache, but this fetching operation is not cancelled because it's just data read. There is no data modification. There is no status update in this action. So speculation was false. Every instruction is rolled back, but cache has the fetched data. What's the problem? So after this data is fetched to the local cache, the attacker scans the all array 2. So array 2 has the size of the array 2 may be very large, and then the attacker scans the array 2 data, every element of the array 2. Then what happens? So if the attacker request this value 0 multiplied by 512, then it's a miss. So if the load instruction is missed in the local cache, then it will take a very long time. And then how about the 1? It's a miss. 2, miss. But if this data is requested, then what happens? It's hit. Okay. So because it's a hit, then it will take a very short time. Then the attacker can compare the data fetch time by scanning the array 2, and then if the data fetch takes very short time, very quickly, then the attacker can know the secret value, because index 3 multiplied by 512 has the very short fetch time. So it's actually the basic of side channel attack, cache side channel attack. Just compare the data access time, and then by comparing this data access time, then we can actually not we, the attacker and the hackers can steal some secret data. So by reading this scan the array 2, then the attacker can steal the secret value 3, and then that's it. So this is the Spectre attack, and then as you can see, there is no bug, and then there is no problem actually. But Spectre applies the cache side channel attack by exploiting speculative execution. And then there are many variants of the Spectre attack actually. The Spectre was firstly found in the 2 years ago, but now we know many variants of the Spectre, like this one, some variant form of the Spectre. So, and then if you are interested in this security issues, then you may Google this some Spectre variant, and then check how this Spectre variant work on the computer hardware, computer processor. Okay, so actually the Spectre POC was already publicly revealed. So this is as my machine, my workstation, and then so you can find that my machine is AMD machine. So it's a CPU. So actually this is a Ryzen 2 CPU, and then this is the Spectre POC, and the Spectre. So if you can see the Spectre POC, then you can. So this some example attacker program is published. So there are 3 arrays, array 1, and then array 2, and then secret. So secret array has the secret characters, secret text, and then when the Spectre is executed, then you can find that the secret message is stolen by this program. So Spectre works on the AMD CPU also, because the AMD CPU has the speculative execution. So this Spectre is widely found on the it's found on the most of the computer processor, AMD, ARM, Intel. So all most of the processor, the Spectre can attack the most of the processor. Okay. So if you are interested in the Spectre POC, then you can Google it. Spectre.c. So this is the secret word. So this is the secret word here, and then this is the victim function. It's the same to I introduced. And then this is the cache hit threshold. So this the program. Actually, the attacker assumes that if the execution time of the load instruction is less than this threshold, then attacker assumes that the data is hit in the local cache. So this is actually the Spectre program has the code line is very small. Number of the code line is very small, maybe so less than 150 lines. So this is the read memory byte here, and then so this is some example code of the Spectre, and then you can see this C++ instruction. So with this C++ instruction, where is it? Here. With this CL+ instruction, then this array 1 size data is evicted from the cache. So this instruction is executed, and then X is manipulated. So if you print this X value, then you can see that the x value has the very small values. So actually this branch instruction, if statement is true for the most of the x, and then the attacker changed the x value has the very large value. So with this large value, this victim, where is the victim? Victim functions can access the secret data. So okay, and then this is the array to scan. So the attacker scans the array 2 data, and then the time accessing the array 2 data is measured. So with the RDT SCP instruction, so with this instruction, we can measure the time between instructions. So if the time, execution time, is less than this cache hit threshold, then the attacker assumes that the data is hit in the local cache. If data is hit for some specific index of the array 2, then this index is a secret data. Its index is a secret. Index is secret data. Okay, so this is the Spectre. So when the Spectre and Meltdown was published, it's found in the actually computer architecture community, then there are many researchers and then some computer architects were shocked, and then they raised on some, what's that? They raised the need for the secure architecture. So it's some architectural effort for the security, So it's so actually historically the computer architecture focused on the performance of the computer system. So out of the processor and the speculative execution is the result, actually fruit of this hard research, and then it's very effective, and then it's actually very it was great. So with this out of processing and the speculative execution, the performance of the CPU advanced very effectively. 굉장히 발전했죠. out of processing이랑 speculative execution이 들어가면서 퍼포먼스가 굉장히 발전했습니다. But so is there a hardware bug? Nope, never. Spectre attack exploit the correctly working branch predictor. So there is no bug on the branch predictor. The branch predictor was just trained by the attacker. Like true. Then what's the next predicted value? True. Just trained as expected. So predicted as expected. There is no bug. And then correctly working speculative execution and out-of-order processing. It's not a bug, and then it's essential for improving the performance of a computer processor. Correctly working memory hierarchy. We know that memory hierarchy is an essential part of the computer system for also the higher performance of the computer system. So correctly working memory hierarchy. There's no bug. And then it is well known that speculative load is no harm, never harmful. So because it's a read operation, it's not updating the status of the computer system. It's just a read operation. There's no harm. But with this feature, the Spectre can steal some secret data and then private data from the computer memory, and that's the problem. So historically, performance was the #1 issue of the computer architecture, but recently the security issues are getting more critical. So it is because currently we live in the big data era, so that means the data is very important. Also, the data is managed in the cloud. So that means that our some private data or some critical data, very important data, can be managed in the cloud computing. And then what's the problem? This cloud servers or cloud computing infrastructures are accessed by many people, and then can be accessed in public. So we know that the big IT companies such as Microsoft, Google, or Facebook may manage our private data very carefully, and then they advertise that they advertise that our private data is very secure and safe. But is that true? No. So we know the news that our private data is revealed in the Facebook. Also, so we can hear many some security. We frequently hear that our password is revealed or stolen from some server or some cloud servers or bank on the bank, or some internet shop. So some home shopping or e-shops. What's that? Like a Gmarket or auction. And then also our password is stored in this cloud server or cloud computing infrastructure, but these servers can be accessed in public. That means some hackers and then some bad guys may steal our private data or password. So this security is the very important critical issue nowadays, because data is money. Also, our some private data is also managed in the cloud computing cloud infrastructure. So now, the computer architecture, some researchers on the computer architecture need to focus on the security also and performance. So 사실 뭐 퍼포먼스만 신경 쓰기도 힘든데 시큐리티까지 고려하려면 사실은 굉장히 힘든 뭐 그런 거긴 하지만, 골치 아픈 문제긴 하지만, 어쨌든 이런 리서치에 대한 디맨드가 이제 점점 커지고 있기 때문에 여러분들도 이제 이런 세큐리티를 고려한 리서치를 또 할 수도 관심을 가지고 이제 지켜보는 것도 굉장히 이제 좋은 자세일 거라고 생각을 합니다. And then so architecture 2.0. So actually in the previous ISCA 2018, the legendary computer architect discussed about these security issues in the computer processor and the computer architecture. So and then they named this as the architecture 2.0, and then I don't know why it's a 2.0, and then I don't know what is architecture 1.0 and then 0.0. But then this discussion made us think about some security issues in the computer architecture field, computer architecture community, and then some also it revealed that the hardware architecture design also considered some security issues in the processor architecture, and then we need to focus on hardware and also software, because actually in the security research area only we focus only on some software effort, but the Spectre reveals that only the software effort is not adequate. I mean, so actually, we need to also focus on the hardware and then hardware architecture, considering security. 예. 그래서 사실은 이제 요 이스카라는 아주 탑티어 컴퓨터 아키텍처 컨퍼런스에서 예, 그 사람들이 이제 그 레전더리 컴퓨터 아키텍트 그 어쨌든 그 연구자들이 모여서 이제 아키텍처 2.0이라는 뭐 얘기를 했는데요. 예, 잠시만요. 예, 거기서 이제 뭐 얘기가 된 것은 어쨌든 우리가 아키텍트로서 컴퓨터 아키텍트로서 아키텍처를 고려할 때 디자인을 하거나 연구를 할 때 이런 시큐리티 이슈에 대해서 무시를 할 수 없다 라는 것을 뭐 열심히 토의를 했습니다. 특히나 이제 소프트웨어만으로 이제 패치를 하는 거는 지금 많이 힘든 상태가 되었죠. 특히나 이제 스펙터 같은 경우에는 뭐 모든 스펙터 베리언트를 소프트웨어로 패치를 하는 것은 좀 힘들지 않을까 이렇게 이제 생각을 하고 있습니다. 왜냐면 이건 뭐 버그도 아니에요. 하드웨어 버그도 아닐 뿐더러 뭐 그리고 이제 소프트웨어 패치를 하면은 그 뭐랄까 컴퓨터의 성능을 엄청나게 떨어뜨리기 때문에 하드웨어 패치를 그러니까 소프트웨어 패치를 하는 것도 좀 쉬운 일은 아니다라고 이야기를 하고 있죠. 그래서 이제 그러면 그 퓨처 하드웨어는 어떻게 해야 되느냐? 퓨처 아키텍처는 하드웨어랑 소프트웨어를 둘 다 하드웨어 앤 소프트웨어 시큐리티를 둘 다 고려를 해서 열심히 연구를 해야 된다. 그것이 이제 뭐 결론이었죠. 예. 빨리 끝낼 수 있을 거라고 생각했는데 꽤 오래 걸렸네. 예. 어쨌든 뭐 이제 제가 이제 스펙터에 대해서 이제 설명을 했고요. 뭐 굉장히 이제 파퓰러한 이슈였기 때문에 많은 사람들이 알고 있을 것이라고 있는 사람들도 있겠지만은 그래도 열심히 설명을 했습니다. 그래서 무엇이 문제인지 어떻게 이제 우리가 그 문제를 해결해야 되는지 좀 좋은 아이디어가 많이 생겼으면 좋겠습니다. 예, 수고 많았습니다.